Paramedics, what's the most messed up thing you've witnessed while attending an incident? My dad was the only licensed paramedic in our Tri-County area for many years. His area covered 2 interstates and numerous major highways in Ohio. He is undoubtedly the toughest person I've ever known, just based on the stories I've heard him recounting when he didn't know I could hear him, coupled with some of the things that I know have happened to him, and second-hand stories from other first responders who have worked for him. His own personal accident, back in '88, he was on his Honda Gold Wing. A drunk driver in the opposite lane went to pass their car, hitting him head-on at about 65 miles per hour. Him being a bodybuilder, he involuntarily tensed enough to survive the accident, and when the first responders showed up, he was trying and failing to stand his bike up to ride off, and they had to gently inform him that he's not going to be able to do that, because his left leg, below the knee, was still in the drunk driver's grill, about 20 feet away. He did get the leg reattached, titanium rods replacing the tibia, and about 1.25 inches shorter and a slight limp, but going strong. On to his paramedic stories. He's been the first man on scene for numerous accidents with high school-age kids, one of which happened about 8 miles from our home, which is important. 2 teenage girls lost control and hit a power line, which collapsed on them, pinning them in the car. Apparently there were serious injuries. They were conscious and coherent, but the power line was live, and the power company couldn't cut off power, so the first responders were forbidden from attempting to help. My dad was having none of this, and drove home to get his backhoe to remove the pole himself, but both girls died before he could successfully free them, more or less in front of his eyes while he tried to reassure them. We were out eating lunch together, and he got a call to respond to a train accident. We got there, me still with my small soda in hand, and the cop on scene looks at me, then my dad, and says he might want someone to come pick me up, because it was going to take a while. The driver of the truck that got hit by the train had coughed his lungs out of his mouth, and was going to need a few bags. That image stuck with me for a good while. A motorcycle accident on the interstate. A group of 4 bikers riding in loose formation had went to pass an 18-wheeler, but they stayed too wide the whole way. My dad had taught me long before that this was a cardinal no-no. You stay as far away from big rigs as possible, because the winds near them get strong and unpredictable. Well, these folks failed to heed that warning, and one of the front inside riders got drawn in towards the truck, overcompensated the other way, and ran into his friend. He was then thrown off his bike, and while falling, got caught, for lack of a better word, on either a foot peg, or the brake lever, or some protrusion, and I quote, unzipped from his ankle to his armpit like a Halloween costume. The straw that broke the camel's back, why he finally called it quits on being a paramedic, was an 8-year-old boy that had drowned in the family pond. Dad was the first one there, pulled the boy out, and immediately started resuscitation efforts. He stayed unresponsive during the ambulance ride, passing away while my dad kept working on him, and kept trying to revive him until the ER room basically pulled him off. When I got older, he admitted that he kind of lost it on that call, because all he could see lying on that gurney was me.